Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Legal Matters by Sai Babu Sunkara. This video is especially for the interpretation of statute students. So that is fourth semester students. By now we are discussing the topic of rules of interpretation. We have come up to the so-called harmonious construction. I have given the examples also. But so basically, you know what is interpretation. Interpretation is nothing but an explanation. Interpretation is to find out the real intention of the legislature at the time of formulation of the act. When the legal language is ambiguous, when it is not clear, when it is not specific, definitely you can go for the interpretation. Interpretation is nothing but explanation. So interpretation. So already I told you the rules like literal or grammatical or plain meaning rule of interpretation. When the words are clear, actually basically you know, when the words are very clear, you need not interpret. So don't interpret the clear words, it becomes ambiguous. Interpretation is there to clear the ambiguity, but don't create ambiguity. That's why I have been always telling you, don't find a problem for a solution. I repeat, don't find a problem for a solution. Now, today we are discussing whether the judgments can be interpreted or not. So, the reply is 100% no. Already Lakshman said no. Don't interpret the judgments. Judgments are nothing but the interpretation of the statutes. So many ways they interpret. So, please remember, whenever you get a question that whether judgments can be interpreted or not, you have to write the reply, yes, judgments cannot be interpreted. So I will give you a couple of examples. Already classic example I have given you. A judicial magistrate, newly appointed judicial magistrate, while attending the conference of the High Court judges, she heard something and she interpreted the same in her judgment. She revealed the same. So during the deliberations by the High Court judge, Sri so-and-so, he stated like this. So therefore, I am taking the interpretation in this line. It is not correct. The interpretation should be on record. So, of course, already I told you the interpretation need not be based on particular topic. Maybe literal, maybe beneficial, maybe strict construction, maybe ejusdem generis, maybe harmonious construction. Like that, you can do whatever you like, but you have to come out with the real meaning or with the real explanation. So, I want to tell you that judgments cannot be interpreted. This is the main point. So, in Ashwini Kumar Singh versus Union UP, Uttar Pradesh Public Service Commission 2003, right? Here actually he appeared for the sub-treasury officer post. His number was 52. It was not accepted. A lot of halabula has taken place. In this case, please remember, an interesting question arose. The question is as to whether judgment could be interpreted in the same manner as statutes are. So whether you can interpret a judgment just like a statute or not. So in this connection, the Supreme Court remarked that while interpreting words, phrases and statutes, that's all. When there is a conflict between some words, conflict between one statute to the other statute, conflict between the provisions of the same statute, definitely it may become necessary for the judges to embark into lengthy discussion. Please remember, lengthy discussion. What for? This is for the purpose of explain. That is for the purpose of interpretation. But please remember, it is not for the purpose of define. So to define is the interpretation. It is the earliest interpretation given almost in every section 2 of every code. దాదాపు ప్రతి చట్టంలో కూడా సెక్షన్ 2 డెఫినేషన్ ఉంటుంది. ఆ డెఫినేషనే మేజర్ ఇంటర్ప్రిటేషన్ అవుతుంది. సో ఇక్కడ when the words are ambiguous, the courts will try to assess the real meaning or try to explain the same meaning. So just like the Motepuri Jamindar case where sugar cane is a green vegetable or a commercial product. Alangir. So anyway, these cases, so definitely please remember the words in the statute can be interpreted but not the judgment. So please remember, their words are not to be interpreted as statutes. Their words, the judges' words are only words. So they cannot be interpreted. Another case is also there. This is Government of Karnataka versus Gaurama 2008. Almost on the same line, Supreme Court stated that, please remember, so don't embark upon lengthy interpretation. So please remember, the interpretation also should be short. It is maintaining for explaining the unexplained words or sentences or the sections in the statute. So please remember. Ultimately, they said that the judgment should not be interpreted. So finally, to conclude, friends, I want to tell you that don't interpret the judgments. Only you can interpret the law, the sections, the acts, or the sentences. That's all. Harmonious construction we already discussed. Then golden rule of interpretation we have said. Literal rule of interpretation we have said. So please, ultimately, to conclude, I want to tell you that judgment should not be interpreted. I think you might have understood it. I need not explain further more. Thank you very much.